This is one of my favorite paintings by Herbert James Draper. It's called A Water Baby. I intentionally left it out of my video on Draper, the longer one from Neglected by Art History, which you can watch here if you're interested. But anyway, I intentionally left it out of that video because I wanted to address it alone in its own video. It has all the Draper hallmarks: a rocky seascape enclosed by sheer cliffs, a depiction of magical otherworldly beings from mythology, and of course, this absolutely stunning siren emerging from the water. This seaweed skirt or belt, it's tantalizing, isn't it? I mean, we, the viewer, aren't we just a little bit jealous of the way that seaweed clings to her form? But look, the merits of this painting go well beyond the striking sexiness of its female protagonist. Look at the way he's painted the gorgeous mother of pearl in the giant shell. It's at once just a big swirl of paint, and yet simultaneously gives off a convincing effect of that iridescent sheen that we all know from the inside of shells. The colors Draper has used here are actually quite desaturated if you look closely at them, but they're saturated just enough and in just the right locations so that the overall effect practically glows. And returning to our sexy siren, while there's some very nice side boob on display, we can just as well appreciate the beautiful way that Draper has rendered her hands. I mean, look at that. They are such fine, delicate hands, and he has rendered them with such delicacy. Also, can you see the tones of blue, purple, and red that are hidden in her dark hair? I love these little touches of color here and there if you look throughout the canvas. And then there is, of course, the water baby, after whom the painting is named. The name might imply that the baby has been born of the water itself. Maybe in Draper's world, this is how sea nymphs come into being. They are born miraculously in shells, and perhaps this nymph has just discovered this baby, and the emotion we see on her face is one of delighted surprise. Or perhaps this is her baby. Of course, we know that in most accounts of Greek mythology, nymphs could get pregnant and have babies just as mortals do, so maybe this is just the cradle that she keeps her baby in. Look at the way this baby's hand is curled up beneath his or her chin. So tender, so sweet. So obviously the effect of observation, right? You can tell Herbert James Draper was observing a real baby and the kind of movements and motions and poses they tend to hold. I want to mention also these sheer cliffs that Draper loves. Often they are so tall that we barely see any sky depicted, or in this case, none at all. It enhances the feeling of privacy, protection, safety. This is an intimate moment. It also enhances the feeling that this is a magical world. It's cut off from the dull reality that you and I live in. It offers us some more of enhanced sense of that escapism. And again, I'm using escapism here in the most positive sense of the word. I wonder what Draper actually intended. Did he mean to depict the tenderness of the maternal instinct? Let us suppose for a moment that this baby was indeed born of pure magic, and this nymph has just discovered him. I don't know why. I feel like it's a him. I'm just gonna say him. Although it could be a girl baby, right? Maybe that makes more sense if they're all female sea nymphs that are born this way. But if her anyway, I'm just gonna call it a him. Is she feeling the first blossoming of a maternal instinct? Will she take this child and raise him as her own? Is she excited by the prospect of motherhood? Or is she like the cool aunt stereotype? I mean, she doesn't look like a lady who's ready to settle down, does she? So maybe she's like that young lady who is in no way ready to take on the responsibility of child rearing and is merely looking at this sleeping baby like it's some sort of shiny new toy to be played with for a few hours, then abandoned. Perhaps in this world, sea nymphs are raised communally. They're discovered like this, sleeping amidst the rocks, then brought to some sort of collective undersea nursery. Who knows? You can start to see, however, the ways in which a painting like this can start to take on a political dimension, political implications. Although, in my opinion, we need not interject politics into every artwork. We should especially avoid projecting the politics of the present day into an artwork from the past. And that is why I decided to make 2 videos about this one artwork. I really do believe that this artwork is best enjoyed as an innocent bit of escapism, and I wanted to give you the chance to see it that way too and have your own response to it. However, it suggested a theme to me that I found so interesting that I just could not help writing about it. So I'm going to release a separate video, really just a video essay that isn't so much about this painting as it is about the following question that I feel like the painting to me suggests. Can we merge together the liberal ideal of sex positivity with the conservative ideal of parenthood? This question, of course, assumes that liberals feel negatively about parenthood and that conservatives feel negatively about sex. And I know many liberals and conservatives would argue against both of these assertions. So it will be more of an examination of these positions as archetypes rather than alleging that this is actually how most ordinary people feel on either side of these political persuasions. Anyway, I just find the juxtaposition fascinating, and if you do too, then tune in for that video. I definitely feel like this painting expresses both a positive feeling towards, or it expresses a positive feeling towards both sex and sexuality, as well as a positive feeling towards babies that are, in a state of nature at least, the result of sex. And a positive attitude towards the idea of parenthood, maybe more broadly, if we're going to take that interpretation. Of course, I offered you another interpretation, and I don't really know how deeply Draper would have considered these things and, you know, how applicable these questions even were in the late Victorian times when he was painting. Again, these are questions that it suggests to me here and now, and I find them interesting to contemplate a little bit. I don't know, we can also just sort of enjoy this whimsical retreat into a beautiful fantasy, and, you know, for all of these reasons, I just absolutely love this painting, and I rate it as one of Draper's best. I hope you've enjoyed it, and ciao for now.